What's going on, everybody? My name is C4. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're for a new Madden 24 realistic rebuild, and we're rebuilding the Denver Broncos. We already did kind of a Denver Broncos realistic rebuild back in the day, where when Colorado was at their peak, we put Travis Hunter, we put Shedeur Sanders on the Broncos. It was actually pretty fun. One of my favorite rebuilds we've done all year. Now we're actually putting ourselves in a circumstance where we might actually draft Shedeur Sanders because of the quarterback situation with the Denver Broncos, which is why we're rebuilding the Denver Broncos after they pretty much came out and said, we're good with Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson has played pretty damn well this season. I think at minimum you could say Russell Wilson this season lived up to the expectations I think the Broncos had when they traded for him. Now, that's not to say that Russell Wilson's back to playing the best football of his career, but he's older. He's 34 years old. I don't think you could ever expect him to play like 27, 28-year-old Russell Wilson. But I think, all things considered, pretty dang good quarterback this year. Kept the Broncos in it. They went on the win streak. He played some pretty good football. But they have benched him for the final 2 games of the season for Jarrett Stidham with all intentions of releasing him. So we're going to follow along in that path and release Russell Wilson and try to not only find a new franchise quarterback that can bring this Denver Broncos team back to and win a Super Bowl, but we're also going to deal with the dead salary cap of Russell Wilson, which is going to be pretty rough. So we're going to take the luck of the Gengar Christmas hoodie that my kids gave me that we utilized yesterday in the Cardinals franchise that got us 2 wins. And I'm going to wear this until I get too sweaty. And at some point I might take that off, put that section on the OnlyFans. And we're going to use this to get another realistic rebuild. Let's take a look at this roster outside of Russell Wilson. And we're going to make a decision if we are fire sailing or not. Look at the offensive line. Mike McGlinchey, we just signed. I mean, he's at his ceiling. Garrett Bowles, that's as good as he's ever going to be. Could make the argument, both those guys. See what kind of feelers we could potentially get. I mean, Garrett Bowles on record came and said he's sick and tired of losing in Denver. Maybe we do the right thing and sell him this offseason to a team that is more of a contender at this given point. We have Dulcich, I think we can develop. Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton, IRL, have been reportedly on the trade block. I think for the sake of a 5-year rebuild. There's still definitely some legs on Jerry Jeudy to develop as a bona fide wide receiver for us. Same with Marvin Mims. Cortland Sutton's getting out there in age a little bit. He's been awesome this year, IRL, but he is 27. So if this is going to be a team that's not going to be competitive till year 3, year 4 of the rebuild, maybe we see what kind of value we could get for Cortland Sutton on the open market and send him to a contender. Javonte Williams in the backfield. You got Jaleel McLaughlin and Samaje Perine. Now, I am a big fan of Javonte Williams. Him at North Carolina with Michael Carter was one of the best 1-2 punches I've seen in quite some time. I think that he's a very good football player. I would like to keep him, but again, if there's value there at a running, so we don't pay a running back, do we just rock and roll with one of the better UDFA stories in Jaleel McLaughlin, who I've gassed up before? I was early on the Jaleel McLaughlin hype train, more so because I just had him in my draft classes back in the day, when he was at Notre Dame College, where he had like 2,000 yards rushing and like 34 touchdowns or something like crazy like that. It was absurd. And I've been on the radar. Then he transferred to Youngstown State. Then he got his UDFA for Denver. I'm not saying that I knew he was going to be, a UDFA steal for the Broncos. But I was like, that guy's a UDFA fun player. Wouldn't be surprised he makes the 53. He's made the most of his opportunities this year. I'm honestly thinking maybe just go 1-2 punch there. There's a way that these two guys can coexist in this backfield. So as far as fire sale players are considered, we have Russell Wilson, probably released, but maybe we get some value for him. I do think we need to look at Garrett Bowles and maybe Cortland Sutton on the offense. Switching around to the defense. Yep, front 3, not particularly great. Zach Allen, I love that piece of business, getting him away from the Arizona Cardinals. But other than that, we are going to need a nose tackle and another 3-4 defensive end. The linebacking core, Baron Browning, I think a lot of upside there. Remember, he was drafted as like an off-ball linebacker out of Ohio State, but more was just like an athlete that you had to figure out and develop. Now, upside pass rusher, big-time athletic ability. We have Sanders, Jewell, Singleton. Again, maybe someone like Singleton could get a little bit of trade value. I mean, he's underrated. I liked him in Philadelphia. Definitely playing better, I think, as like a linebacker, starting linebacker in Denver. He was more of like a great special teamer that see ball, get ball, could get picked on in coverage a little bit. But I mean, he was always solid here in Philly. It seems like he's been the case there in Denver. Joseph Jewell's nice. We're going to just go with Sanders for the remainder of the season to get the rookie out there with a dev trait. While simming, because you can only start at week 10, so I had to obviously get to where we are right now. Jonathan Cooper went up dev trait And because it was just a normal to a star, I was like, you know what, screw it, we'll leave it in here. We need all the help that we can get for our pass rusher help. So we're going to have 2 Ohio State edge rushers in Cooper and Browning going into year 2. They released Kareem Jackson, so that gives us Caden Stearns at safety. We have Justin Simmons, 90. I mean, there's a guy that so many people were surprised wasn't traded at the deadline. I think we need to consider it as well, even though he's a little bit of a, I think anyway, Bronco legend. I don't know if you necessarily would classify him as such, but I think, especially because there's probably zero chance he's going to keep that superstar dev, he needs to be another trade candidate. So I'm thinking Singleton, if we can. Simmons, again, I don't know 100% if Singleton's under contract, but I think Singleton and Simmons are definitely guys that I think are going to be trade candidates. I'm not trading Pat Surtain. If we're doing a 5-year rebuild, he is going to be like the cornerstone, even though he might lose that X factor because that's just the nature of the beast. One of the best corners in the NFL. We have Mathis. I'll tell you right now, we are going to try our goddamnedest to develop Riley Moss, White Lightning on the outside. Maybe we need to find a way to get Cooper DeJean here. I think we could build something special in that context, but a lot more work needs to get done on the defensive side. But I definitely think Simmons, trade target, trade candidate, Garrett Bowles. I think Cortland Sutton. I think we see if we get anything for Russell Wilson. Let's just close up the final 2 games of this season, and then we're going to get into a little bit of a fire sale. I think that's the direction that I'm leaning here to kick off this Madden 24 Denver Broncos realistic rebuild. But before we go any further, I need to give a quick shout out to today's video sponsor. The holiday season is approaching and the NFL season is still going strong. And today I am partnered up with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official partner of the NFL. And right now they have an offer that you do not want to miss. All customers can get a no-sweat bet on any same-game parlay or same-game parlay X with max reward limits applying. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and sign up using promo code C4. If you're a new customer, you're definitely going to want to listen up. Right now on DraftKings, new customers who bet just $5 will get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Wondering what you could do with your $150 in bonus bets? Combine multiple bets together for a shot at an even bigger payout. If sports betting is not yet available in your state or province, not to worry, you can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. All customers can use my promo code C4 and get a no-sweat bet. Get a bonus bet back if your same-game parlay or same-game parlay X bet loses. Max reward limits apply. That's promo code C4 only at DraftKings Sportsbook. So we're going to start looking at some contracts here. Okay. 5th-year option for Surtain for sure. Dang. Didn't know Jewel was going to be... Who's more important? Jewel, 20. Cushenberry. I mean, Cushenberry wants to stay here. Give him like a 4-year... I don't know if I can make Jewel work on that. No. All right. Complete revamp of our linebacking core. I mean, we do have Drew Sanders with the dev trade, but this probably means we'll go Singleton. Not going to be able to trade him. He'll be our starter next year unless we can find one in the draft or free agency. But free agency, not with that much salary cap, we're probably going to be pretty tight budget-wise for this first free agency period. So as we close out year 0, which is fair to say, we actually trying to tank... win the final game of the season 48-27 to put us at 8-9, and look at this performance from Javonte Williams. 169 yards, 5 touchdowns, which makes you feel great. You look at Cooper Kupp has 244 on the other side, but just ridiculous garbage week 18 type production kind of is what it is, but still pretty damn happy that like that, knowing that Javonte can do that, maybe for sure takes him off that trade block for the offseason. So we close out the year. Russell Wilson, again, not a brutal year, but also for a quarterback that is getting paid top 10 quarterback money, 3,900 yards, 26 touchdowns, 12 picks. I don't know like how much this deviates from where he's at in real life. I don't think it's too far off. I can also see why they would want to move on from Russell Wilson. Running the ball, Javonte went 900 yards, 11 touchdowns, obviously missed some time this year. Wasn't a full-time starter. Hopefully we don't lose a dev trade. I think the touchdowns look pretty good. We got 1,000 yards for Jerry Jeudy, almost 1,000 for Cortland Sutton, 8 touchdowns there. Mims, more of a role player, same with Dulcich. But the fact that, like, in the sim, as long as this is mixed with real-life numbers, but if this can be a Sean Payton offense that can facilitate 2,000-yard receivers, I'd love to see Jerry Jeudy and Marvin Mims kind of excel in that role, or, you know, maybe we have Mims more as a role player. We have Judy as a wide receiver 2. We go find ourselves a wide receiver 1. On the defensive side, Singleton led the team, 97 tackles, had 4 TFLs. We got 8.5 sacks from Jonathan Cooper, 9 TFLs. We got that dev trait, 6.5 from Baron Browning, 5.5 on 13 TFLs for Zach Allen. Yeah, not brutal numbers. Benito, good rotational pass rusher, 2 picks, Sertan, 2 from Simmons. 1, oh man, Riley Moss got a pick. That's pretty badass. Yearly awards MVP goes to Lamar Jackson. And quickly see if there's any Denver Broncos that got any love. Marvin Mims and McLaughlin making the Rookie of the Year shortlist. We got Sanders just outside the top 5 defensive Rookie of the Year. Russ makes top 10 QB. Maybe that gives us a little bit of value. Maybe we'll have to outright release him, and we can get something back in return. Javonte, for missing all that time, still making the top 10 running backs. Pretty good. We have Cortland Sutton making the top wideouts. Ben Powers making the top line. I mean, you know, we're getting a little bit of something here. We have some guys that are absolutely stepping on. Making Cooper making the top 10 linebackers. You love to see that. So there's pieces here that we could build around. It's not going to be a fire sale to the point where there's nothing left. All the smoldering ash after we fire out this roster. There's still going to be some good pieces here. It's just more so shipping off some veterans and seeing what kind of value you can get, likely in terms of draft picks, to help this rebuild. Give us a little kick in the ass as we gear up for year 1. The Baltimore Ravens defeat the Dallas Cowboys 27-14 in the Super Bowl. I could definitely live with that. As far as dev traits are concerned on our offense, we did not lose anything on the offensive side of the ball. Russ kept his star, which is nice. Dulcich kept his star, which is nice. Didn't necessarily have the production to do that. Perine kept his dev. Like, maybe we could trade Perine. On the defensive side, don't think we had any dev traits. I guess it's just more so the maintaining. Simmons maintains. Sertan maintains. We'll take that. Those are wins. Start the offseason with a pretty big trade. The Denver Broncos are sending Justin Simmons, 89 superstar safety, and Samaje Perine, 73 star dev running back, to the Minnesota Vikings for a second-round pick in this year's draft. Very surprised that Minnesota wanted Simmons. I honestly just threw in Perine there to just make it a little bit more realistic, give them something else in the backfield, a power option they don't really have right now with Madison and Ty Chandler. But that's the first piece that's falling. I am noticing, though, there's not a lot of salary cap going around. So looking at someone like Garrett Bowles, who I want to try to move, Cortland Sutton potentially, Russell Wilson. I don't think there's a lot of teams that can afford those players. You might just have to release them, especially in Russell Wilson's case. Surprisingly, look at this offer. Commanders could be a team that's looking for a quarterback. Sam Howell's shown some good, shown some bad. They could say, we like Sam Howell. Maybe he's not ready yet. So someone like Russell Wilson, kind of a good year. And it's also just a dumb move that the Commanders would make. They're offering us De'Ami Brown, kind of like a role player at wide receiver, but a third-round pick in next year's draft. I'll take that because I was getting ready to release Russell Wilson for nothing. And we're going to find a partner with Cortland Sutton. 84 star dev, only 28, so like, you know, you get a nice 2-3 year window there, and we send him to the most desperate team for wide receiver help, which is the New England Patriots, in my opinion. We had to send also to get this trade over the line, 2 fifth-round picks this year and a 4th-round pick next year, but in return, we get Marcus Jones, who is 75 with a star dev, 25 years old, so that just gives us another option there. Ideally, we could go Sertain, Riley Moss on the outside, put Jones into the slot. We're able to get a 3rd-round pick this year and a 2nd-round pick next year. Pretty happy with that value. We're able to get a 4th-round pick for Tim Patrick, kind of the forgotten name of the wide receiver room. 74, still had a star dev, but he's 29 years old. So, again, just one of those players. Whatever value I could get, I'll take it because you're not going to really be a part of this team come year 2, 3, 4 when we're starting to get back up on the incline to being a legitimate contender in the AFC. And then I ended up just making this monstrosity of a trade, sending Garrett Bowles to the Texans. We're going to kick him out to right tackle. You have Tunsil at left, Bowles at right. We also send a 3rd-round pick this year. We jump up basically 4 spots in the 3rd-round pick this year. And then to get a 2025 2nd-round pick, we gave up 2 thirds and a 4th. Probably could have just made that trade anyways, but ultimately for us, it is shifting the salary off the books here for Garrett Bowles. And not my favorite trade we made, to be honest with you, but I'll take it. After all that being said and done, we now have Stidham at quarterback. Our wide receiver room is Jerry Jeudy, Marvin Mims, and De'Ami Brown, who we got in that Commanders trade. We do not have a left tackle. on the roster, which is not great. Defensively, you know, we do have a new corner, Marcus Jones, 75 with a star dev. We do not have a free safety anymore with no Simmons. We don't really have a strong safety. I don't necessarily know if Caden Stern is going to be kind of that long-term option, but look at the picks we now have. First round pick this year, second round pick this year, 2 third rounds, and a 4th. Next year, we got a first, 3 seconds. So that is where we're going to have to do our damage. We took quality over quantity. And really, to be fair, 1, 2, 3, 4. I even think these third rounders, 5, 6, 7, 8, all those guys over the next 2 years, 8 players need to be impact players. We roll into our first free agent period. I'm not going to lie. We're going to spend a little bit. We're going to spend more than I thought I would in the tank. But all the players make sense within the context of Sean Payton being our coach or just generally where our roster is at. So we're going to try to spend big at Grant Delpit at strong safety. We know, debatably we need 2 new safeties, but Delpit being here as a superstar dev, a player that I've been very high on since he came out of LSU and was really that year debatably the best DB in that class. Kind of took a little bit slow start with the Browns, but I think that'd be a great get for us, especially with the dev trade. Replace the superstar ability we lost in Justin Simmons and get a superstar, obviously not as same rating, but he's 4 or 5 years younger, which would be a big win. We got Rashid Shaheed at wide receiver. I feel like he could be like that third weapon. Seems like a Sean Payton guy. Same with Cesar Ruiz, trying to put a competitive offer in. I'm pretty sure he was still there when Sean Payton was in New Orleans. Now there's a big bid there from the Raiders. So I think I don't want to lose him to the Raiders, but it is what it is. And then Trey Lance at quarterback, just in case I don't want to draft whatever quarterback's available in the first round this year. Just gives a quarterback for Sean Payton to work with. So let's see how this first wave goes of free agents. Trey Lance still mulling it over here. Gonna go over to day 2. But look at our signings. We were able to get all 3. Ruiz, Shaheed. That Saints pipeline remains strong and true. We get a big fish in Grant Delpit. Hopefully day 2 we get a quarterback potentially. I'm not even saying, and I'm not even going to even hint that Trey Lance is going to be the quarterback of the future. What I am saying, though, is he might be a stopgap quarterback, see what he can do until next year's draft where we have a pick that likely will be closer to 1 than it is 12 we're picking right now. And if not, we'd have like a bunch of second and third round picks next year that we could trade up for. And on day 2, we get Trey Lance. See what he can do. So it is now time to start the 2024 NFL draft. We're going to stay put at pick 12. We'll see how the board kind of falls here. My intentions is not to get a QB this year, but we'll see how they fall. I was actually kind of hoping Brock Bowers could fall to me. I did not look at the last mock draft either. Jared Verse, pass rusher. I think the sentiment right now against Bronco fans is like pass rusher corner is where you guys want to go. And we just seen 2 top ones go out the board. Dallas Turner gone. We got Fashanu at tackle. I think I figured out the offensive line here, but we will see. As it is an absolute run on tackles and guards. Pick 10, the Rams go Joe. Just run on tackles. Pick 11, the Raiders go Nate Wiggins at corner. So the board is definitely. I think Drake May is actually still here. Fortunately for Bronco fans, we've already done a Drake May and Jaden Daniels rebuild, and I don't feel like. I don't know. I don't necessarily want to hitch the wagon with this Broncos rebuild to J.J. McCarthy and Michael Pena, and I'm not saying that because I'm thinking of a quarterback for sure that I want in next year's draft class. I don't know. None of those guys really moving the needle for me, if you will. We still got, some talent at wide receiver. Keon Coleman would be pretty badass, like a replacement immediate for Cortland Sutton. Malik Neighbors is there as well. Deeper. What's the speed on Malik Neighbors? He run like a 4.3. Doesn't have elite speed. It does have elite acceleration. Keon Coleman. What do we got here? Great. 4.3. That's a very interesting pick there in Keon Coleman. I'm gonna say he's the lead dog for this first selection. Well, we got Latu as a pass rusher, but the fact that like Cooper just went up dev trait, we got Baron Brown and Cooper. I feel like I want to give those guys a chance, and I don't think I'm seeing like edge rushers that make me want to give up on giving them a chance right now. I did scout Jer'Zhan Newton. He would be on our front 3. That's also a big time important position for us. He has 3 A's and a C. A finesse, A power, A tackle. Elites, I mean, it's just a big-time athlete. This is probably the best move. Even though Keon Coleman, flashy wide receiver pick, I think where our roster's at, where the value presents itself at pick 12, Jerzon Newton, I mean, we got Kool-Aid McKinstry here. At corner, 6'1", 195, 3 Bs and an A, but athletically speaking, not a freak athlete. Cooper DeJean is there as well. Probably a better athlete, honestly, than Kool-Aid, if I had to guess. Punt returner, a little bit better. I think our D-line is so shambolic. The best value at pick 12 is Jerzon Newton out of Illinois. And look at the athlete. At 300 pounds, we're getting a guy with 88 acceleration, 91 strength. We're going to convert him to a 3-4 defensive end. Hopefully he's a beast for us. Going into the second round, there still is some wide receivers. Mika Ibuka and Brian Thomas Jr. Both would fit the bill. I want to take a look at tackle. Sua Matata's there. It means no worries, right? What's the corner situation looking like? That Josh Newton, Quinn Mitchell. Don't like the board. I'm going to be honest. Don't love the board here in the second round. Almost, you know what? We'll grab a wide. I was going to say, almost questioning trading out. Still got Michael Penix, Bo Nix on the board. I like Michael Penix in the second round a whole lot more than I like him in the first round. But look at that. Solid throw power. Bengal is not a believer in Michael Penix. What about Bo Nix? If Bo Nix has elite throw power somehow, I think I'll take him. He is good. He has elite strength. I feel like at this point we're not getting someone that's much better than just burning a year on Trey Lance and then carrying on. So I think, let's see what we got here. Mika Ibuka probably is going to have the athletic edge. I mean, even then, not ridiculous. Brian Thomas at 6'4", also has same. Okay, that's where we're going to go. We're going to go Brian Thomas Jr., 6'4", giving us some DJ Chark vibes. 6'4", 94 acceleration, 93 jumping, 94 speed, gets the hidden dev as well. All right, we're going to get in the third round a big-time value pick, an All-American linebacker. We need some youth to play with Drew Sanders in the middle of the defense. So we're going to get Edgerrin Cooper out of A&M. No dev trait, though. It's a little rough, man. Some people consider him maybe the best linebacker in this upcoming draft class. He's certainly in that top three. Him, you got Barrett Jones, Trotter Jr., but there's a shot, man. He ends up being the best. Our last big investment, Mason Smith still the boy. He's a guy, if you're paying attention to mock drafts early on, he's had some first-round buzz. Still here in the third round, A tackle, B power, B block shed. Also, athletically speaking, brings in great in the speed department. Bench press, very good. We'll go with the athlete here, see where he can kind of fit himself on our defensive line, our front three. So it's tough to get sold and hyped on a season or year one with the Denver Broncos, where our quarterback is Trey Lance, a 67 normal. But I think we had a very strong draft class to kind of start the beginning of the rebuild. Look at, the value late. We got Jaheim Bell, who's like a utility running back, fullback, tight end hybrid, 71 in the fourth round. Mason Smith, 73. He's going to go to defensive end. We got Edgerrin Cooper. While I was a little bit, not surprised, but I thought there was a shot he might have a dev trait. 74. Brian Thomas, 76. Hidden dev wide receiver in the second round. That's going to be like the guy that we hope ceiling-wise can be that Cortland Sutton. And then hitting on Jerzon Newton, 76 with a hidden dev. Big-time athlete that's going to help this defense right away. I don't think, outside of maybe finding a diamond in the rough at quarterback, I don't think we're going to have many more opportunities to have a better first draft than what we just got here, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So year zero has completed, and now let's take a look at our roster. So because we signed Cesar Ruiz in free agency, which was a needed upgrade, we had to go a little bit of an old take here. Ben Powers was a all-world guard at Oklahoma, but he was a JUCO player, and at JUCO, he got all the acclaim as a tackle. He's a tackle in junior college. So we're going to have to just maximize the strength of our O-line there, and we're going to throw him out there at right tackle, which is always a risk because you paid him because he's a really good guard, and it doesn't always work, right? But hopefully Madden can at least Madden here a little bit, and a player with some tackle experience. We'll put Mike McGlinchey over there at left tackle and see if Powers can survive at right tackle. We're going to get Brian Thomas Jr. some reps just because you get a hidden dev rookie like that. You want them to make the most of the opportunity. We got Shaheed, Judy, with, we're going to put Marvin Mims in the slot. Trey Lance at quarterback. Yeah, just kind of a Band-Aid until we can get to next year's quarterbacks, which we got Quinn Ewers, we got Shedeur Sanders, maybe some other quarterbacks. Jackson Dart, Arch Manning is there. Plenty of options for us as we go through the scouting process. On the defensive side of the ball, this is where I think we made some really nice strides here. John Newton in the first round. He's going to start as a defensive end with Jones and Zach Allen. We have Cooper, Sanders, and Baron Browning. I'm optimistic that this linebacking core is going to grow and develop into some big-time players. We have Grant Delpit, who was our big fish. We landed in free agency, 84 superstar. I'm going to put McMillan. This is a guy that just, I think, a little bit of a fan favorite for the Broncos. Was he a draft pick? UDFA, ECU? Let's see right now. Either way, this guy, just anytime I've seen the Broncos play, seems like a dog, an absolute dog. So I'm going to get him on the defense by converting him from slot corner to a free safety, which is going to allow us to have Pat Surtain, Riley Moss on the outside with Jones in the slot. I think this team's going to surprise. I think you look at this, and obviously we're only going to go as far as Trey Lance can take us. I think you look at this team on paper, you're like, well, I could see this team going like 4 wins. 4.5 wins is probably what Vegas. I could see us getting 6-7 wins and surprising some people. But if we don't and we suck, I will very much embrace that as well because it just gives us a much higher pick to get a quarterback in the 2025 draft. Need an alert. Riley Moss has a breakout scenario. Riley Moss has a breakout scenario. And in an upset of the year, Trey Lance and the 3-2 Denver Broncos beat the Baltimore Ravens 31-15. Riley Moss sacrifices dev trade for the upset. Appreciate it. That's a team player right there. First in, first out kind of guy. And the midway point of year number 1, 3-5. So that shows that like we can win, have that huge upset over the Ravens, but also we are committing to having a high draft pick so that we can get a long-term option at quarterback. We do have a top 5 offense right now, though. More so, I think, on the rushing. Our defense, not great, but the sacks are good. The takeaways and sacks. Like, if I'm going to have a defense that is, like, 20-plus, between 20 and 32, I better at least have big sacks, big takeaways, which is exactly what we got. So I'll take that every day of the week. Let's look at some contracts here. We have a lot of, at least I was assuming we are going to have a lot of dead money. Not necessarily the case. $110 million. So let's see what we got here. We're going to start with some of the role players here. Jaquan McMillan. We'll get him locked into a 3-year affordable deal, see if he can continue to develop there. Jonathan Cooper at pass rush. Again, this is affordable enough that, like, if we could still draft a clear upgrade, sure. But having that as a fall plan at only 26-year-old. Same with Baron Browning. Don't love the contract, but it's still, like, one of those things, like, he's good until we can find a replacement. And maybe he starts balling. So I think 2 lowish offers, but I don't think it's going to take a whole lot more to get those over the line. We'll get Minards locked in for the remainder of this rebuild, 4 years. Wow, he wants a little. Everyone knows how much salary cap we have. That is clearly what's going on right here. We'll get Javonte on a 4-year. Wow. I mean, the good news is I think all of these contracts are like within the ballpark. And Jerry Jeudy, he would have been the guy I would have projected out of all of them that would have given us a trouble trying to get a contract extension. He actually takes the money. I don't think we're too far off of Williams, Minards, Browning, and Cooper. And I think once we get all those, we're still going to have $65 million plus to make some big splashes this upcoming offseason. Now, I stressed at the beginning of signing Trey Lance that there was nothing, but we've got some wins. We are competitive, and we have a breakout scenario, which not going to be super unattainable. He's just making it look the jump from normal up to a star. 300 scrimmage yards, 1 or fewer touchdowns to get him up to a star. I'll tell you what, if he gets up to a star, I pretty much penciled in Quinn Ewers as the target here. Not going to say that I already got a picture for the thumbnail, but we might need to buy into a Trey Lance revival here for the Denver Broncos. But we kind of got smoked there a little bit. Got humbled against Carolina. But Trey, interesting. Interesting. Very interesting. Do we get any XP boost? Where's he at? Maybe. Maybe kind of, sort of. Mr. Trey Lance? Yes, sir. So he's going to be up to a 70 overall. Now, we do have a great offensive coordinator that's giving him a lot of boosts. Currently a +3. We get the 3 to throw power, accuracy, medium, and short. Look at that awareness. if he had actually like a reasonable awareness, if you gave Trey Lance 65 instead of 45, he's almost an 80 overall probably. So at the end of year one, we had the surprise late development of Trey Lance from normal to a star. However, we can't make more of it than really what it is. Trey Lance did not play that great. I was here being like, oh, did he get 35 touchdowns, 7 picks? Not really. 3,900 yards, 23 touchdowns, like just average, honestly. You know, yes, he got a dev trait, but I think, to be fair, I think Trey Lance played well enough for himself. Used us. I feel used because Trey Lance just improved his own stock while playing us out of easy selection of a quarterback in this upcoming draft. Now, I do think we can use Trey Lance now as a trade piece. Kind of a little bit. We revived him, but maybe enough that he could carry some value because we are going to have to likely trade up now. But unfortunately, I didn't really see enough here to be like, well, let's commit to Trey Lance for the next 4 years to bring a Super Bowl. I don't think we're here for a revival. Now, the draft could be difficult to trade up for, right? So we'll have to take that as is. Javonte Williams had a nice year. Over 1,000 yards for Jerry Jeudy. Brian Thomas, 9-3. 8, almost 9-9 for Marvin Mims. Dulcich with a serviceable year. Rashid Shaheed really the only guy that didn't eat. Both Riley Moss and Drew Sanders going over 100 tackles. We got 10 sacks, 8 TFLs for the rookie Jerzon Newton, which could absolutely put himself in Defensive Rookie of the Year conversation. 7 sacks from Barrett Browning. Love that as like our 2 sub-pass rushers, which unfortunately meant that Jonathan Cooper, who we did just re-sign, did not play a whole lot outside of our base defense, which I guess we just didn't run a whole lot of base defense. 5 picks for Surtain, 3 from Delpit. Love seeing that. The big dogs in our secondary playing as such. Dak wins the MVP. Offensive Player of the Year. I just see if we have any Broncos here. Defensive Player of the Year. Offensive Rookie of the Year. Damn, Brian Thomas coming in at number 4. Defensive Rookie of the Year. Oh, what? Latu on the Colts, huh? We're coming just outside the top 5. Latu on the Colts, huh? What did he do? What did this guy do? Latu. Huh? 19 I mean, okay. But 19 TFL, 6.5 sacks. Versus 8 TFLs, 10 sacks. I think we got robbed there a little bit. So the Super Bowl here in year number 1 is the same as Super Bowl in year 0, except an inverse. A revenge for the Dallas Cowboys defeating the Baltimore Ravens in back-to-back years. Those 2 teams have met up. And to close out year 1, looking at our dev traits on the offensive side of the ball. Trey Lance earned that dev trait in season. No one else went up or down. I didn't really expect anyone to go up or down, honestly. You know, Jeudy had a nice year. Javonte had a nice year. Everyone else kind of just played to the norm. However, the defensive side of the ball, our hidden dev first-round pick, Jerzon Newton, who should be a superstar, should have won Defensive Rookie of the Year, got robbed. He is there as a star dev. Riley Moss, going over 100 tackles for a corner, which is usually a lock for a dev trait, goes from normal up to a star. We maintain the superstar on Delpit, maintain the superstar on Surtain. Jaquan McMillan goes from normal up to a star. Edgerrin Cooper, the rookie linebacker, goes from normal up to a star. We did not lose the dev on Jonathan Cooper, which thought out of everybody on the defense, he was the least likely to maybe have a regression in that department. He maintains there, so all in all, could be worse. The only thing that sucks now, I guess, is we played well enough to make it so if we want a quarterback, we are going to have to pay a hefty price. Free agency here, $78, almost $79 million. However, unfortunately, on the defensive side of the ball, I need a nose tackle. Nose tackle. Lynn McNeil's here, but there's no interest. That means I'd have to overpay, and that's not, you know, that great of a base rating. Other than that, I'm pretty content with my defense. A lot of guys that we're continuing to bank on that continue to develop, like a Jaquan McMillan, Riley Moss on the outside, all those guys getting dev, where I might be able to spend a little bit of money and get someone that's maybe a little bit better. I want to still, we're early enough in this rebuild to gamble on the upside, see if those guys can continue to develop, maybe hit another dev trait or 2, which means we get to save a little bit of money because there's not much there on the defensive side of the ball. On the offensive side of the ball, I like our offensive line, even though we had to shuffle things around to kind of come out with the best combination. I think, generally speaking, it's pretty solid. So then it's just like, well, do we got BPAs? What do we have at tight end? Will Dissly? Not much. What do we got at fullback? Ricard, don't really need a fullback. I like our running back room. Javonte Williams Is there a surprise big get at quarterback? There is Jared Goff, but, you know, it's, if this was, say, year 4, and there was just somehow a 30-year-old 85 superstar, I'd probably pull the trigger. But the fact is, Jared Goff at 85, that is his ceiling. He's only going to get worse from here on out. And it almost feels a little bit like repeating history with Russell Wilson, where you're getting a guy, obviously Goff's never had the success, the peak that Russell Wilson had, but you're getting a guy that's still okay, still could be a starting quarterback, but you're getting like on the downswing of that. And I don't think we want to repeat ourselves there. So there's really no one else in free agency that's worth signing, huh? Yeah. Now, not interested whatsoever in coming to our team. Needs to be said. But should we try? I think we should try. Because why not? That's what I'm saying. We should try because why not? Why not the Denver Broncos? Surely one of you wants to come here. All right, never had that happen. Clearly, way out of the ballpark for Jamar Chase. Still want to have an offer in there, just in case, I guess. And that's what we got. I think the fallback plan was Jalen Waddle. We got both. Was not foreseeing this. This is now a little bit of a problem because that is way too much money we have in the wide receiver room. So, yeah. Well, I want Quinn Ewers. We need now. I guess we got our fucking quarterback. We got enough wide receivers that it almost feels like okay. Feel pretty confident that whoever's at under center. We've just become the Dolphins in an offseason. I don't know what to do here. I'm absolutely okay. We're gonna get some second round corners. I think that's a spot we could look at potentially here. Oh man. I'm rattled. There's no other way to put it. I am absolutely, positively rattled right now. So we got the most recent mock draft. Now here's where we get a little bit of a good roll. We need to trade up. We currently hold the 10th pick. Quinn Ewers, the quarterback that I want right now, just because we already did kind of a Shedeur Sanders. Go check that out. I think it's probably my best rebuild we've done in terms of like views and stuff this year. So I want Quinn Ewers. So to go from 6, can I throw some wide receivers and pick 10? I think we might be able to. All right, so to move up 4 spots, I have traded our first round pick, 2-6. We needed that to get over the line. Trey Lance, so they give them developmental quarterback, showed some promise. Probably still going to draft a quarterback, right? That they can get, the Shedeur Sanders. And because of the offseason, Jerry Jeudy, who's been reportedly on the trade block for the Denver Broncos, 84 star dev, and we threw in Rashid here, 80. He's only 27 years old. So you look at this for the Rams' perspective. They get a developmental quarterback while still having a first-round pick at pick 10 to get QB2, right? And maybe there's not that much of a difference between Quinn Ewers and Shedeur Sanders. They get wide receiver 2 in Jerry Jeudy, so you can have Cooper Kupp, Jerry Jeudy, Puka Nacua. You get a deep threat in Rashid Shaheed, which is nothing they have. Jerry Jeudy, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp. There's no burners there. So Shaheed is that burner, and we go up and get a quarterback in Quinn Ewers who can throw it to fucking Jalen Waddle and Jamar Chase next year. We have been burned the last time we traded up, assuming that the board was going to remain as such. So there is a chance one of these teams snakes a quarterback, which if that happens, then it just goes in line with how ridiculous everything's been But I mean, you know, hell of a job by Sean Payton selling the project of what we're building here, what quarterback we're going to go get. And I think for the sake of this video, it would be huge if Texas rolls Washington in the playoff and Quinn Ewers has a huge game, because it is wide open. It is for who the 2025 top quarterback is going to be. Quinn Ewers, Shedeur Sanders, Carson Beck returned to school, even though he's in Bengals draft class last year, he's returning. But I do think, from what I've seen from my eye test, I think Quinn Ewers has a terrific shot, has ridiculous arm talent. And yeah, going to a damn near perfect situation here in Denver. This new look Denver Broncos team. And as I'm looking at how the boards fall, I think corner might be like, you know, decent job future. We do got Shiloh Sanders here to get a Sanders in, but I think for me right now, I'm a little worried about Mike McGlinchey's regression. So we have Trey Zune here out of Texas A&M, 6'7", 320, double Bs, elite strength, decent. Ah, man, no dev. Damn it. We need a nose tackle, traditional nose tackle. You have Nash Hutmacher from Nebraska. We could, Mason Graham, fringe for sure. Who's better, the athlete of the two? This guy's good strength, not Hutmacher, elite strength. Let's roll with that. There we go, 95, an absolute mauler. Grizzly Bear at nose tackle. This is actually our last pick in the draft in the second round, and I got, you know, the board's kind of depleted a little bit. I was like, maybe we can just get a 2026 first round pick, and then I get a 2026 second, 2027 second from the Minnesota Vikings. I'm taking that and laughing all the way to the bank. So in an offseason where you get both freaking Jamar Chase and Jalen Waddle, it's going to be tough to top that in the draft, but I think we did a pretty decent job. We got Hutmacher, nose tackle, going to be a day one starter for us, 73 with a hidden dev. A little disappointed. Trey Zune did not have a dev trait, but developmental left tackle. Maybe, you know, we just kind of let Mike McGlinchey's contract kind of run into the ground, and then eventually Zune would just take over that tackle spot. But Quinn Ewers is expected, with the weapons we have brought in, to hit the ground running. Does he have the skill set? Well, we got an offensive coordinator that is giving him the +3 to throw power, and all of his accuracies was giving him a gigantic +4 boost. He hits the ground running as an 81 hidden dev quarterback. Let's make some magic. So as we go to year 2 on this rebuild, hit the NOS a little bit, obviously, with, you know, we got to turn that free agency into a positive. You know, Sean Payton, very, very respected head coach, especially on the offensive side of the ball, said, you know what, Jamar Chase, we want you here. And we want Jalen Waddle, because we're going to go get the top quarterback in this draft class, this gunslinger out of Texas, and we are going to turn this around. And I know Jamar Chase probably pissed off the Bengals didn't re-sign him. Jalen Waddle pissed off that the Dolphins didn't re-sign him. So now they're both coming here to a chance to build something absolutely special with what we have here on the offensive side of the ball. Now, it is going to have to be, you know, pay the piper at some point, I'm sure, with these two ridiculous contracts. And we've handed out a wide receiver, but we are now on, for the remainder of the rebuild, on a rookie quarterback contract. So maybe we will be able to survive. I am a little worried what the salary cap for this team is going to look like come year 4 and 5 of this rebuild. But we're here in year 2. Let's live in the moment. On the defensive side, Hutmacher is going to start at nose tackle, giving us a nice young front 7 across the board that's going to play their best football. Delpit, McMillan, Surtain, Mac Jones, and Riley Moss return for what's an underrated secondary led by arguably the best corner in the NFL. But I really want to see. We talked about, is this going to be an offense, a sim offense that can facilitate 2,000-yard receivers? Well, we're about to find out. The midway point of year number 2. Udi had to go. Udi, we just brought in bad vibes, negative vibes, and we were an absolute gauntlet here in the AFC West. 5-3, tied for last in the division, 1 game out of first. It's pretty nuts. We got a breakout scenario for Quinn Ewers, who's throwing to goddamn Pro Bowl out there. Trying to look to make the jump from whatever his hidden dev is to something else. He needs 350 scrimmage yards. I think that means he's superstar. I think that's the X factor. Let's see if we can hit it here, and then we'll worry about contract stuff. Winnable game against 3-5 Houston Texans. Underachieving a little bit. Still have a great quarterback in C.J. Stroud. Who is the better on the day? It is us. 28-14. Did we get the breakout? Probably not. That's a very, very tough breakout to hit when you're just simming. It's a very tough breakout to hit if you're even playing the game. But I'm happy that he's playing well enough to get those breakout scenarios. As right now, Denver has the number 2 offense in the NFL. Almost a top 10 defense which is pretty good. But here's the scary part. Now, after getting both Waddle and Chase, very scared about our salary cap going forward. Up first, though, we do have Mr. Pat Surtain. We'll get him locked in. I got Greg Dulcich there twice for some reason. Marcus Jones, slot corner. I feel like I'm going to be able to draft a corner. I think that's where I want to go in the draft. We got Zach Allen. I like the fact that's only a 2-year deal. I'll give him that. Keep him until he's 30. Hopefully he won't face any regression within that contract. But it's going to have to, not going to be able to re-sign some of these fun guys. Some fun depth guys. Benito, Jaleel McLaughlin. We got to have to cut corners because of our Gengar, Udi, irresponsible spending. That's why we took it off. It was a bad influence on the rebuild. So we're going to have to let some of our starters go. And hopefully we replace them with cheaper options through the draft. And then of year 2, I was just like, okay, well, our offense balled out. How are we just the ultimate juggernaut division? The AFC West. 10-7, last. We did lose 2 in a row. Did not win in crunch time. Rookie quarterback. But disappointing. Disappointing to get the kind of players that we got. Look at Quinn Ewers. 2nd in yards, top 10 in tutties. Dev trait, just a star. I can't even remember my own goddamn. I swear to God, I thought he was superstar. And I made this goddamn draft class. But with that production, I'd be very surprised if he's not Offensive Rookie of the Year, which should yield a dev trait increase. But that's not bad. Ran the football pretty well. 18 rushing touchdowns. We had 1,600 yards. 15 touchdowns for Jamar Chase, 1,300 yards, 9 for Jalen Waddle. Not much else, but, at this point here, let's just facilitate these 2 players to continue to ball out. And also, Jalen Waddle on a star dev. That kind of season could get him back up to a superstar, which would be pretty gigantic going forward. Defensively, Edgerrin Cooper and Drew Sanders, both tackle machines. Huge year. Cooper with 8 sacks from the middle linebacker spot. Second of the team, Zach Allen with 9, 7.5 for Browning, 6 for Jerzon Newton. Not brutal numbers, given the fact that it is a 3-4. Surtain with 3 interceptions. Hopefully does not lose his X Factor. Yearly Awards MVP goes to Josh Allen. In the AFC Offensive Player of the Year goes to Jamar Chase. You love to see that. Defensive Player of the Year, Olukun with Edgerrin Cooper coming in the top 10. Offensive Rick. Fuck off, man. There's no way Riley Leonard had a better year than Quinn Ewers. There's no way. I highly doubt. Jamar Chase, wide receiver of the year. Quinn Meinerz, O-lineman of the year. That could be a superstar guard going forward. But second. 45, 33, 34 touchdowns. Okay. Riley Leonard. Goddamn. All right, give it to him. All right, love where I'm at as Dallas has won back-to-back Super Bowls to close out year 2 here of this rebuild. Love it. Absolutely love it. Take a look at our squad as far as dev traits are concerned. On the offensive side of the ball, we got Quinn Ewers got his superstar, which I assume he got that just from yardage. The combined fact, but blessed to get that. Jalen Waddle up to superstar, earned it. Meinerz for lineman of the year, earned it. On the defensive side, Surtain kept his X Factor, which I love. We did, unfortunately, lose the superstar on Grant Delpit. Hutmacher was a hidden dev, ends up being a star. Pretty good. I think maybe a little harsh, especially with Cooper getting 8 sacks in the middle linebacker spot, not going up to a superstar, but not brutal. Somehow we have $76 million. I don't know how this happened, so I'm going to offer at least Dulcich. Okay, tells us to go F ourselves. All right, never mind then. Even though we have a considerable amount of salary cap space, not a lot in terms of positions that I want to go after. There is Jalen Ramsey available as a corner, but I think after last year we'll humble ourselves a little bit. And in terms of like secondary options at corner, not seeing anything crazy, at least crazy enough for me not to just rock and roll with our first round pick and target a corner there. Knowing that it is a now generated draft class, which usually has some pretty strong corners. I think our pass rush needs to pick up a little bit. Jalen Phillips here as an outside edge rusher. Maybe throw him a little money. Like, we'll offer him a neutral deal. If he likes it, if so be it. If not, we can just go with Cooper again. Rock with what we got. But he does. Man, we're getting, hell of a sell job here. Sean Payton is getting guys to buy into the Denver Broncos. I said I want to target corner in the draft, and there's only one guy that looks worthy of like a first-round pick here, and that is J.D. Riley out of SMU, who does actually look pretty damn good. Now, where does he go in the mock draft? Because he's not going to fall to us, I don't think. I mean, we didn't make the playoffs, so it could be kind of close. But if he's, up there, he goes 9, then we're picking 18. Damn, might need a pivot. All right, so we're not in a good spot at 18 at all. There's not much at corner. I was like, maybe we could pivot to safety and then put Jaquan McMillan and move him back to maybe the slot corner spot. But even then, like, their safety board does not look great. We have Edward Brayton, first, second round, has some B's to his name. The combine not S tier. It's an A, low A for Edward Brayton. Again, corner market, not, the one guy that we do kind of like. Is in our range. Terrence Sullivan, A catch, B man, B zone, C press. Not bad. What do we got at tight end? Tight end's another spot because we let Dulcich walk. And there's just, we did blind scout here for the most part. What do we got? We got any athletes? Jimmy Barkley, Chet Phillips. Okay, Barkley, not bad. Phillips, this is the guy that you'd want. I mean, if we can get him in the second round, okay, let's do that. Let's stick with the board here, at least positional board. We'll go with Terrence Sullivan in the first and try to get that tight end in the second. Oh, no, Dev. Brutal. While we're here, there are still some tackles. That tight end, maybe we can get that tight end with another pick here. Bench press not bad on Posey. Clark Barton, though, 6'8". I like to look at that with a dev trade. Yes, sir. There we go. We're kind of just, we're live. I don't want to trade up. I have yet to see the tight end projected to go first right now, or the first tight end in the class to go out the board. So we are going to be able to let at pick 18 in the second round fall to our lap. Blind pick, but he's the best athlete at the tight end spot. And that is Chet Phillips, 6'4", out of Auburn. We have A catching. We have elite speed. Usually that's a pretty good combo. Greg Dulcich, who? Somehow, I'm now in the third round. This is existing. Double A, double B. Power back, which is our scheme fit. And he ran a 4.35. I mean, that got to be a guy in the 70s, mid-70s. So take a look at our draft recap. Good players. I mean, the first four were the ones that were like the big hitters. Sullivan, unfortunately, no dev trade. But we do get one on Clark Barton. We do get one on Chet Phillips at tight end, who's going to be a day one starter. Value at running back, 73 depth option here in Pittman. We can take over that Jaleel McLaughlin role. All in all, not bad, but anytime you do have a top 20 pick and you can't get a dev trait, not the best feeling. So going into year 3, changes, sir. We got ourselves a new tight end. We got developmental tackles. So as soon as it's time to usher out Mike McGlinchey, which we are going to get some decent salary cap savings when that time is. Could be this upcoming offseason. We are prepared at tackle. The offense, well, get ready to be an elite unit. That's all they could be. On the defensive side, I would love to see not only everyone take a step forward, but let's get a couple more dev traits here. We added Jalen Phillips. See if that can help give us a little bit more juice as far as the pass rush, which has been the only thing that's a little bit down. But other than that, confident this team is going to be as competitive as we were last year. A 10-win, 4th place in the division is brutal. There's no way the division is going to be that good again here in year 3. I think we're going to sneak into the playoffs. Rolling into free agency. I'm surprised, honestly, we have as much salary cap as we have had. However, we're going to make some somewhat tough decisions here. Got Marvin Mims. I like Marvin Mims. I like that selection of Marvin Mims. But with everything that happened at wide receiver in free agency and, hitting on Brian Thomas in the draft, a little bit of surplus requirement. We do have Drew Sanders at linebacker. I like to keep him here for the remainder of the rebuild, get him locked into a 3-year deal. Still got $35 million. We'll let Ben Powers walk at right tackle, go with some of the youth guys that we have. We have Zahn. We got the rookie with the hidden dev. I think we're ready to get younger at those 2 tackle spots and put that money elsewhere. At the end of year 3, it is a little annoying how competitive the AFC West has been this entire. We came 3rd, 10-7, finished with the 2nd best offense. Our defense is horrific. Not thrilled about that, honestly. Our defense It's 3-4. Maybe we need to make a little bit of a pivot with the defense because it's holding us back a little bit. Quinn Ewers, second in yards, 32 touchdowns, 13 picks. He is getting the most out of this Broncos playbook. 13-13 Javonte. We have 1,600 yards, 8 touchdowns for Chase, 13-10 for Waddle. Mims with a respectable season. Not bad for the rookie there. Phillips, Sanders, and Cooper. I don't know how we're getting... Denver Broncos playbook loves blitzing linebackers, I guess. Jerzon Newton with a great year. I mean, truth be told, usually the 3-4 defense, there's non-existent sack numbers. Pretty good. 7 from our middle linebacker, 7.5 from our nose tackle, 8 from our D end, 9 and 11, 9 from our edge, 11 from our D end. You know, I can't complain a whole lot. I do think, though, with the low interception numbers, we're just asking for Pat Surtain to lose his X factor. Look at the MVP race. Quinn Ewers making the top 10 for outright award winners. I don't think we're gonna have it. Maybe I would say maybe Jamar Chase, but he's 4th. Quinn Meinerz wins Lineman of the Year again. Cool. Just flirting with them, daring to give him an X factor. But at least we made the playoffs. Here we go. Year 3, finally a playoff running. I see 12-5 Buffalo Bills. We have the 26th ranked offense, 27th ranked defense. Should be winnable. But I don't know. I don't know if our defense is consistent enough for me to expect wins in the Civ, and that's kind of where we're at here, man. In closing of the season, dev traits on the offense remain the same. Phillips, our hidden dev tight end, pops as a star. Also, our hidden dev lineman here, Barton, popped also as a star. He's going to be our starting right tackle next year. And Trey Zune here could potentially take over from McGlinchey if we decide to move on in the offseason. Defensively, Zach Allen lost his star dev. We gained a superstar on Drew Sanders. Surtain keeps his X factor. I think it could have been worse. We could have lost more devs than we gained. And we seem to be slightly ahead, which is a win as we go into year 4. But I don't know, man. There's just something about this Broncos team right now that does not inspire confidence. All right, so we are going to dump McGlinchey because that's like almost $15 million in savings. We'll go Barton. We'll take Zune here to right tackle. And we're going to have enough money, man. Like we've spent a lot by bringing in Waddle, by bringing in Jamar Chase, by bringing in Jalen Phillips. We could still spend more. Like, I mean, center, we could use a center upgrade. If there is a better tackle, we could, you know, if there's like a franchise clear-cut tackle. 3-4 defensive end, for sure. Corner. There's a big-time corner. Big-time safety. Wow. We got big-time safety. We got big-time center. And they're interested. I think the center makes the most sense in terms of, like, the big upgrade. Because, I mean, we do got... Let's go both. Who are we kidding? This is a realistic rebuild, but this is a realistic rebuild of a team that has a lot of money and wants to be aggressive. That's another way to put it. And something needs to be said about Sean Payton. We were like second on Kyle Hamilton. We were 3rd or 4th on Jamar Chase. Gets them all to buy in. A hell of a job. So what we're going to do at safety is we'll move Grant Delpit to free safety. We'll move Jaquan McMillan into slot corner. So I think that will healthily get all those guys on the field. So pick 22 in the 2027 draft after adding Kyle Hamilton and Linderbaum, poaching the Ravens for our free agency spot. Of course, there's a really nice looking safety available, which we do not need at all. Greg Turbin. Oh, that guy looks great. That guy looks so sick. I mean, could we move Kyle Hamilton like linebacker? I mean, you know, it wouldn't be the craziest thing. We did, look at this, though. We did get a corner that's top 5 talent, Andrew Ballard. I also scouted some 3-4 defensive ends. Carlos Aboli looks, I mean, he was a little bit on the underside. 6'6", 275. I feel like he could be. And also, big-time athlete. 4'6", that is very interesting. We also scouted here Trayvon Irons out of Florida. A tackle, B power, A block shed, C finesse. With also a decent combine. Runs a 4.7, 35. I mean, this is really, really good. But I always feel like when you get a top 5 player, top 5 talent player, All beast, 6 feet tall, legit athlete. You gotta trust the player, and of course, there's no fucking dev trade. I'm telling you, something up. It was this rebuild got cursed the moment we got both Jalen Waddle and Jamar Chase. Like, is that what it is? The vibes have been off. We've been spending a lot of money in free agency, usually not a staple, and by usually never a staple of a realistic rebuild. Then we just fucking whiff the pick, get clickbaited into. Not only do we get fucking clickbaited into the top 5 players 70, so it's a shit draft class. I set my board and we still draft a fucking quarterback in the second round. Don't need it. And he's not even a good one. It's not even like, oh, they gave us an X factor or anything like that. Absolute bullshit. Get a hidden dev, off-ball linebacker here, kick him inside. We got a pass rusher. Was the best of like the kind of 3-4 looking guys. Luckily rolled a dev trade here on Childress. But I got to go look at the other guys. The guys we passed on. Oh, I'm so annoyed right now. We got Ballard. We passed on Carlos Boley, who's 73 normal. All right, so not the worst. I think the Florida DN, though, is going to have a dev trade. If I had to guess, I'm going to say he does. Where are you at? There we go. Irons. I hope he's normal. All right. I mean, again, we would have, been pissed off whoever we ended up picking the first round is, I guess. And the midway spot of year 4. Now, finally, starting to not have a juggernaut of a division here. As we sit atop the AFC West, 5-2. Top 10 out. Defense, again, the overall rank's not great, but as long as the takeaways and sacks are kind of high, I can live with it. Well, let's see what we got here. A lot of players that we want to keep. First up, we have, oh my God. That's so much money. Especially for a middle linebacker. I like to keep, that's a little bit more reasonable for Delpit. Like to keep Ruiz on the offensive line. Okay. So there's just no, that's an absurd amount of money for Edric Cooper, who's been great, but that's so much money for a middle linebacker. I think we're going to have a tough conversation there. I mean, we might get extra money to close out the year that come out of nowhere that we could throw an offer at Cooper, but we'll see. Maybe restructure. Maybe restructure one of our big wideouts. Oh my God, come on. Give us the division. We go 13-4, second to the goddamn Chiefs. Get sick of this a little bit. Quinn Ewers. Yards have kind of remained the same. I mean, that's what we've got. We've got a lot of yards. Pretty good touchdown-interception ratio for Quinn Ewers since he's been in the league. Javonte Williams, 21 rushing touchdowns. Didn't get 1,000 on Waddle, but Jamar Chase absolutely feasted. 117 catches, 1,800 yards, 11 touchdowns. I would have preferred probably Waddle to go over 1,000 because now he might lose his superstar. Cooper continues to be a beast. Sacks are solid, not great. Surtain back up there with the interceptions. I mean, our secondary should be shutting everybody down. Drake May wins the MVP. Okay. Any Broncos? Looking for some Denver Broncos. Alrighty then. Yep, year 4. Have yet to get a playoff win, even though we have, in terms of talent, one of the most talented teams in the league. So surely we'll at least get a little bit of a victory here as we run the gauntlet. And fucking, rebuild's not passing the vibe test at all. Take our super team in a year 5 Super Bowl or bust. Love it. Love that situation that we put ourselves into. Great, for the 3rd time the Dallas Cowboys have won the Super Bowl. I fucking hate this. Hate it so much. Looking at our squad. Dev traits. Well, the good news is Jalen Waddle kept his superstar. Quinn Ewers is up to an X factor. The bad news is my college football bowl bet of betting the Canes, even though I liked Rutgers to win anyways, but I took Miami because they were underdogs. It looks terrible as we're getting... God, what a fraudulent program the Miami Hurricanes are. Getting bullied by Rutgers? Offensively, we end on a good note. Defensively, No, not a lot of dev traits, but I think we can find a way to get Edgerrin Cooper on the books, which I think we can if we push some money around. We'll be looking pretty good. But again, it doesn't matter. We have a super team, and we have no playoff wins. I don't know what's going to change year 5. All right, so for Cooper, we're going to spend pretty much all of our remaining salary cap to keep him on the books. Does, in a certain way, kind of put us out. Like, we're not going to be able to sign anybody in free agency, but, you know, he's been outstanding for us at linebacker, and we got to reward him with the very huge 5-year, $70 million middle linebacker contract that works out so often in the NFL. All right, it is time to get into our final draft. This is going to be a very pivotal draft because for whatever reason, whoever we select at pick 23 is going to be the sole reason why this team that possesses the number 1 defense, that possesses the number 1 offense, is going to be the reason why we go on and win a Super Bowl. So I have, in terms of needs, I think we can look at a third wide receiver. It's how big of a difference are they going to make? Not really, with the wide receivers that we currently have in Jamar Chase and Jalen Waddle, but we don't have that third wide receiver playmaker. I'm looking at Manny Thomas. Look pretty good. Put the old little heart next to him. Deep route running, elite speed. You know, put that with Jalen Waddle's speed. Good luck trying to stop it. Even Jamar Chase has some burners on him. So that is where we're going to start in the first round. This guy's going to be a stud. And looking at our draft recap, feel really good about that first pick. I also got ourselves a really nice kicker a little later on. But Manny Thomas at pick 23, 75 with a hidden dev. I got Darrell Spencer, the corner, out of Oklahoma, 72 normal. Got another 71 wide receiver out of Liberty. But look at this pick here, Trent Griggs. Maybe we need a kicker. Maybe we need someone that can be that next, what was his name? Jason Elam? Is that his name? Was that the guy, like the Broncos kicker back in the day that had like the longest field goal forever? But look at this, Trent Griggs, 97 kick power, hidden dev kicker out of Ole Miss. Was that his name? Jason Elam? Gotta Google this real quick. Jason Elam. That's who it was. Hell yeah, that's who we got. 2.0. So here we go. This is our team, our 91 overall from purgatory with Russell Wilson having to move on and fire sailing half the goddamn team. It felt like. To now where we're at. And looking at it, it's maybe, and I don't even want to say maybe, we spent more than we probably have and ever will in something that's branded a realistic rebuild. That being said, we embraced it. That being said, we also took advantage of finally good free agency roles. We had the money. It's not like we're at a spot where I have no money, I'm in the negative, I'm in the red for our salary cap. We are above water here. So we spent our money wisely by bringing in Cesar Ruiz, Linderbaum. We have one Minert who developed into a superstar guard. We've drafted 2 new tackles. We drafted a new tight end. We drafted a franchise quarterback in Quinn Ewers out of Texas, 94 superstar right now. But we need him to play his best game because let's be honest, 94 X factor with the weapons he had. I think it's fair to say that he's playing like at the bottom tier of what he should be. Like if he's playing any worse, there'd be a big time problem. So that's a long way of saying he needs to play better. There's no other way around it. We have Javonte Williams. Now, maybe where this rebuild got cursed was the free agency class where Jamar Chase and Jalen Waddle were there. And there was a lot of bids on Jamar Chase. There was no bids on Jalen Waddle. I threw my hat into the ring for Jamar Chase. We were at like third or fourth. I might need to run the tape back on that one. But we were 3rd and 4th in terms of the top offer for Jamar Chase. And when I saw that, I was like, well, I need someone. We need to get an X factor here. So there was no bids on Jalen Waddle. So we threw our hat in the ring for Jalen Waddle as well. And I guess I could have withdrawn our offer for Jamar Chase, and we would have only got one in Jalen Waddle. But I decided, whatever, man, there's a chance. And we got what we potentially could have asked for by not withdrawing that offer. We got both. And since we've got both, the fact that we've still been able to build and retain a very good team, it speaks to the state of how, like, you know, the Russell Wilson contract, the Cortland Sutton contract, like all those guys we decided to move on from, we were able to reinvest that money, I think, very, very wisely. Now, on the defensive side of the ball, a little more homegrown. Childress, Hutmacher, Jerzon Newton up to a 91. That is all homegrown. Cooper, Sanders, Baron Browning, all homegrown. We threw a little money here at Jalen Phillips, threw a little money at Kyle Hamilton and Grant Delpit, At safety, the corner room, homegrown, led by Pat Surtain. Riley Moss, White Lightning, still doing his thing at corner. I think this is absolutely a Super Bowl winning defense. This is clearly a Super Bowl capable winning offense. We've had the number one offense in the league. We've had the number one defense in the league. We've had almost negative postseason success, and we are now year 5 Super Bowl or bust. Every realistic rebuild we've done so far in Madden 24 has yielded a Super Bowl victory. Who knows? Who freaking knows here in year 5? But if we play up to the talent level that we have on this roster, we should, at minimum, AFC Championship level of season. As I sift through this year, I'm telling you, this is one of those years where we're losing to every team we'd probably see in the playoffs. Like, we're kind of... It's one of them years. Like, watch this. We got Kansas City here. 12-3, 12-3. Top place in the AFC West on the line. We are 5 points better overall. We are a better squad. This is an old Patrick Mahomes. Ooh, there we go. That's actually our biggest win of the year. Because all of our other 3 losses, we lost to the Chiefs, we lost to the Ravens, we lost to the Bills, we kicked the shit out of all these teams that are not sniffing the playoffs, and we finally win the AFC West 14-3. Somehow still not good enough to get the 1 seed. I'm gonna guess the Bills also they beat us though. I can't, you can't complain too much. They beat us head to head. That's the tiebreaker, and that's what we get for being a little bit fraudulent early in the season, but. 2 nice wins there against Kansas City and Jacksonville to end the regular season. We have the number 2 offense. We have the number 7 defense, so it's not as good, but we play a team that's below 500, which, bodes pretty well. And look at the numbers there. Quinn Ewers played his best. Called him out a little bit. There's no other way to put it. Pretty much called him out, saying he wasn't playing to the level of, like, you got Jamar Chase, you got Jalen Waddle, you're an X factor. Figure it out. 4,700 yards, 40 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. Quinn Ewers, 13-16 Javonte, 15-16 Jamar Chase, 1,007 for a Tyrell Sullivan, 9-6 there for Jalen Waddle. Man, I would have loved. I mean, mate, it's just one of those things, man. Year 5, even if you get good players, when you get these guys late, our roster's so stacked. There's not really an avenue to really pop off. Kind of is what it is. I will also say, man, if you are looking for a sim team that gives you good TFL and sack numbers for middle linebackers, look no further than the Denver Broncos defensive playbook in the sim. Very eye-opening. Sean Newton, 10.5 sacks, 12 TFLs. Love seeing that. Generally speaking, for a 3-4 defense, not bad sack numbers. Interceptions, 3 for Delpit, 3 for Surtain. Yearly awards, Dak Prescott wins the MVP. Quinn Ewers making the top 5. Damn. For some Broncos, come on. Gotta at least get it. There we go. Jamar Chase, wide receiver of the year. You'll love to see that. I suppose while we're here, let's see, look where we're at. Through 5 years of rebuilding, where the stats are at. Quinn Ewers at 18,000 yards passing, 138 touchdowns, 37 picks. Pretty damn good. To be completely honest, pretty damn good. I think if I had to grade Quinn Ewers as the quarterback that we decided to go with here in this realistic rebuild, and obviously we had opportunities to go Shedeur Sanders. We had opportunities to maybe stay and try and develop Trey Lance, I guess. I give Quinn like a B+. Definitely wasn't necessarily in line with what we see with like Caleb Williams and Drake May in previous realistic rebuilds, but it still was pretty damn good. Javonte Williams, 8,500 yards, 84 touchdowns. Pretty good. Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, splitting their time between, obviously, the Bengals and the Dolphins. So, can't really take too much credit for all of that. Grant Delpit, again, split our time between us and the Browns. But Drew Sanders, homegrown, with over 600 tackles, 34 TFLs, 12.5 sacks. We got 59 sacks. Jalen Phillips, split time between us and the Dolphins. Jer'Zhan Newton, our first pick. I think for a 3-4 defensive end to be going through 5 seasons, 291 tackles, 53 TFLs, 45.5 sacks. He's been great. Absolutely worth the investment. Because obviously we had an opportunity to maybe go quarterback in that 2024 NFL draft. Decided to go on the defensive side of the ball, and I definitely think it worked out well for us. Edric Cooper developed into a really nice player from a slightly underwhelming pick when we drafted him as a normal dev to an excellent middle linebacker. We had 25 picks for Pat Surtain leading the rebuild. Sanders with 7, Riley Moss with 5. So all in all, really happy with where we're at as a team, except the playoff success. And like, have we won a playoff game yet? This rebuild's recorded over 2 days. I can't remember. I did the first 4 years yesterday. Today is year 5. I'm thinking though there's a shot we've yet to get a playoff win. If not, we have one at the most. But look at this: Chargers below 500, 28th offense, 21st defense. This needs to be like, again, we completely underwhelmed last year by being the best team in the NFL and just not going in. And this year, I think we are still the best team. Even though Buffalo beat us, I still think our ranks will stack up against anyone. We handled business in the open round, 42-14 over the Chargers in a game where Javonte Williams balled out 127 yards, 4 touchdowns. Someone called Terrell Davis. We got ourselves a little Terrell Davis performance here out of Javonte Williams, who was a player, another guy that at the very beginning of this rebuild, we're like, should we trade him? Is there value in trading? Should we move on? But I've been such a big fan of him going back to his time in North Carolina. Glad that we kind of gambled. Look at who we got next. So we got the Jags, who we beat week 18. They're 10-7, 87 overall. Trevor Lawrence playing pretty good football. Pretty good defense. Top 10 in passing touchdowns overall. Top 5 overall defense. I'm almost feeling in the given mood that if we don't win, I might go in just an extra year. Because I think this team is so fucking good at 93s across the board that I might need to give it another swing. Because they're right there, man. They are absolutely right there. But we handle business 24-21 over the Jags in a week where Drew Sanders, a player who's run the gauntlet for us here in this rebuild, starting as a hidden dev linebacker and very similar to Baron Browning. Like, that's kind of like a thing that the Broncos are looking for in their linebackers. Like, Baron Browning was kind of like an off-ball linebacker at Ohio State, talked about at the very beginning, and then he developed into a pass rusher. Drew Sanders, same kind of thing. Like, he was a 5-star recruit as an athlete, and I think that he's, Bronco fans, feel free to let me know. Is he playing like off-ball linebacker? Are they using him a little bit as a blitzer, pass rush? He's like a hybrid type player, and that's what it looks like the Denver Broncos are kind of looking for in their linebackers. But he had a good performance, and Lamar Jackson for the Ravens, also almost 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. Pretty good. Is that who we're playing? I feel like this we put the rules in. We've obviously won a rebuild and got a Super Bowl in every rebuild so far, with the house rule of I can hop in one game during a run and for 3 times in that game. Because this, should I just use it this one? Because usually that means we have 75% chance of winning. There's still lots of sim, things can still go wrong. I can score 3 touchdowns, the other team can score 4 touchdowns. It doesn't matter that I hopped in on the sticks. But I'm almost with the first risk of missing a Super Bowl, should I cash that in now? So at least if this is an L, we made it to a Super Bowl and just lost? Or do I gamble that our number 2 offense can outscore the number 12 offense? Should I gamble that our number 7 defense is going to make more stands than their number 2 defense, who, even though they had the number 2 defense, look at the other individual rankings. They gave up more touchdowns than we did. They don't get as many sacks. They don't get as many takeaways. They don't get as stingy in the red zone. Nowhere near that. I gotta think on this just a second. Because I want to keep the streak going. I want to get 15 rebuilds in before we lose one. And I feel like as long as we get to the Super Bowl, then we got a chance. We got a chance in the sim. I can see us beating the Bears and or the Giants straight up in the sim. I think out of all the teams remaining, the Ravens are the most difficult team. Look at that. We don't have to play KC, got handled with. I don't even think Dallas made the playoffs. Those are the 2 teams you got. You know what? I'll make this. If we lose right now, I'll go one more year. We'll go into overtime in this rebuild because I'm vibing with this. That will give me the confidence to sim this one and cash in our hop in the sticks. And we fire. Let's go. 27-13. Not pretty, but look at that. When we need them to step up, and it looks like we're probably playing the Bears in the Super Bowl. Quinn Ewers, 255, 3 touchdowns. Also got 30 yards on the ground. Jalen Phillips, mercenary pass rusher with 2 sacks. And in year 5 at the depths, which, you know, I don't even want to. We're not even playing the Giants somehow with. They didn't have offensive or defensive player of the week. And they still found a way to win. I got to go look at that. We get a shot, and we can hop in if we need to. But let me go look at the playoff results there. How did that happen? How does a team get offensive player of the week, defensive player of the week, and still lose? 3 touchdowns. They have Carson Beck, quarterback out of Georgia. Saquon doing Saquon things. So they dominated on the ground. Brian Thomas. We drafted him. That is a former Bronco in Brian Thomas, who is maybe the biggest victim to us getting both Jalen Waddle and Jamar Chase in an offseason. And he is circling this matchup as an ultimate revenge game. God damn. Defensively, you know, Ruben Bain. They got Ruben Bain, who's an absolute dog for the Hurricanes, 2 sacks. Okay. Well, we got a chance. We got a chance to put an old check mark here on the list for another Madden 24 realistic rebuild with a Super Bowl. Let's hop in. Let's handle business. Let's keep this streak going. So in the Super Bowl, we're taking on the 11-6 New York Giants, who have the 23rd ranked offense, but is led by Dex Lawrence in a top 5 defense. Let's see what the Giants look like here. Am I worried? Probably not. Quarterback, they have Carson Beck and Bo Nix. So they just really took swings at a couple QBs from that draft class. Still got Saquon, who's one of the best running backs in all of Madden. They got Brian Thomas, Jameson Williams, and someone named Trevon Ulrich. So 6'3", 6'2", 6'4", kind of built like the Atlanta Falcons. But Brian Thomas Jr., originally a draft pick of us from our year 1, had 900 yards for us, and then kind of got phased out. And then went to New York and had a hell of a year. Almost 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns. Really their go-to guy. They got Luke Musgrave at tight end, Andrew Thomas, Graham Barton, John Michael Smith. I mean, that's a pretty damn good offensive line. They got the advantage there. I'll give them that. Their O-line is better than our O-line. Defensively, they got Ruben Baines, a 97 X factor. Dex Lawrence, 99 superstar. They got someone with a truly offensive name. Simmons, Okereke are still there. Thibodeau, 97 X Factor. Deontay Banks, Andrew Booth, Xavier McKinney, Jabril Peppers. You know, good team. Not a great team. Good team. I don't think they stand a chance. But I would say that to pretty much any opponent in the Super Bowl. They don't stand a chance. But push comes to shove, their offense shouldn't get a whole lot of points against us. Defense is probably a push. And fact of the matter is, we need some help here. Getting shut out in the first half with Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle. We got no points to show for it, so it's time to change that. We're catching one of our 3 opportunities to come in here. And it's not that hard to find Jamar Chase. He is a 99 X Factor. He is better than every defensive back on this Giants team. He can outrun every defensive back on this Giants team. Look at that. I love that we went for it on 4th down. Kick the field goal up 3. We'll come in here on 3rd and inches. We'll go Javonte, who's coming off that 4 touchdown performance. Putting him up there with the likes of Terrell Davis. Wow. That is very tough running. And look at that. It's been tough sledding there. 10 rushes, 35 yards for an integral part of this offense. We keep that balance. Look at that. 2 field goals. And all it takes is the team that doesn't settle for field goals to go ahead here. So let's see what we got. We got Waddle. We go to the tight end. He drops it. A crucial drop. I'll say you have 3rd and 6. Okay. What do we got in the slot here? Sullivan. We got Waddle. We got Jamar Chase. There's no safety. The sideline grab there. Beautiful. This is our 3rd time that we can hop in. Want to be smart here. This is the last time we can hop in, so we want to make sure we score. And there's very little time left for the New York Giants. Let's stay in bounds. Let this clock keep churning. 3rd and 3 coming up at the 10. Do we run it? Suppose we could try and run it. Right behind the fullback. Let's see some pancakes. Oh, let's go. I mean, I just scored too early. So they put him. Javante gets in the end zone. Minute 16. They need a touchdown. 4th and 7. They get it. 3rd and 10. 4th and 14. Oh my God. Oh my God. They get it for 2. They go for 2 to win it. There's a fucking L right there. There's our first L. They went for 2 to win it in regulation. That's kind of badass, if I'm going to be honest with you. For the CPU to pull that one out. And there's no other way to put it, man. Since the day that we signed Jamar Chase and Jalen Waddle, the same, the vibes, which should have been immaculate vibes. Should have been vibes that, we just built a super team. This is going to be so freaking fun. It never passed the vibe check since that moment. Like it stripped away all sense of like a realistic rebuild, and we lost a Super Bowl. They went for 2. Not gonna win them all. Our win streak of Super Bowls ends. 1, 2. We won it with the Patriots, Chargers, Giants, Bears. The 4 streak, and it ends at 5. We could not get it with the Denver Broncos. Got to unfortunately put a little X here in my notepad, and maybe when we're all done, all 32, we go back to the teams that we took L's on and have a different approach. But what would we got? It's ridiculous for me to just say, we got to do something different here. Maybe we don't sign 299 fucking wide receivers. Maybe that was the death sentence for this fucking team, was we were too good. We were too good for the sim to give us a chance, and that's why we lost. That's ridiculous to say, but that tinfoil hat might just be the reason why we lost this one. Well, that'll do it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. As always, first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Let me know what team you want to see rebuilt next in the comment section below. Until next time, it's your boy C4. Say peace out, love ya. Have a good one.